Good afternoon and welcome everybody to this Ignite. My name is Petar Radosavljevic, and if your team solve typical application networking concerns on application level and by changing application code, then this is the right presentation for you. Before we dive in, let's take a look on agenda. Today's agenda is pretty straightforward. We'll go through steps and we'll see how one simple microservice application becomes complex. Idea today is to show another point of view. In the past, we know that companies spend massive amount of time and resources by developing custom frameworks and libraries and applications. But do we need it anymore? Cloud gives us a way to transform old monolithic applications to the microservice architecture. So companies found a way to automate the business processes to address the business demands. And microservice architecture enables developers to bring new features quickly. But how time goes on, our micro is not micro anymore, and we can see that services are getting bigger and bigger. And one day happened a debate about a new feature, and the developers explained that the feature itself is not a problem, but the problem is the whole system around that feature, the security, the trace, and things like that. And if we analyze this, we can see that the problem is the size of the mesh, and we see that now it's hard to identify the bottlenecks. It's hard to track what is going on inside that mesh. And if we analyze this from the perspective of time being spent by developers inside one sprint, for example, we can see that only half of the time they spend on providing business values, actually. So that is a big problem. And to address these application networking concerns, I want to present you a solution on the infrastructure level, and it's a service mesh. And the service mesh is a very powerful network, and today I will present you the Istio. Istio controls all applications traffic, and typically through a set of network proxies that sit alongside of your container and services. And if we are talking about why to use Istio, well, it can help us to send apps to be back to be micro again. And also, which is most important, is that now developers can only think about providing business values and not to think about security, about network, etc. And this is an example of how the traffic route looks like in the Istio service mesh. You can see that unlike some other ingress resources, it's a little bit complex, but that complexity make it more smarter than other. And now we'll see concrete examples where we can get rid of application code. First of all, we are talking about TLS. Istio can secure the communication between all the parts in the mesh, and it can provide a strong cryptographic identity to all services inside that mesh. When we are talking about authorization, there is no need anymore to have some authorization block of codes inside your application, because Istio can be in front of your mesh and block all fake requests. Also, we can avoid implementing complex counters in order to have scalable application, and also we can avoid implement complex logging inside our code, because all these come by default in Istio network. So this idea, the idea of service mesh, has become increasingly popular over the past few years, guys are working on version 2 architecture. There are some other also service meshes, of course, and for those who are not familiar, on this slide I share some helpful resources. That will be all for me today. Thank you for your time, and stay healthy. Bye.